I'm even talking into a muted microphone. That's awesome. You know I'm a real streamer because, stuff and things. Still music. Don't know what happened to the old music. I found a folder called Music for Videos. Apparently it's not the stream music. No idea. Hello, 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 hello. How is everybody? Hope everybody's doing well. Is the chat moving? Whilst we do that, Good morning, Manatharia. Hope you're doing well. Audio library. For some reason, all my stream music's gone, which makes sense. Different computer. Good afternoon, Bigendix. Hope you're doing well. We're going to search for genre. Ambient. Then mood. On. Then that. Fair enough, but it is also the first time in a long time that I have streamed. Here we go. We got some background music going. Thanks to YouTube's audio library. Just move the microphone a bit closer. Hello, hello. Nice and subtle. Okay, let me just get some other music downloaded. Good day, Lloyd Kirk. I hope you're doing well today. Nah. Sure. Nope. Nope. Sure. Okay. Sure. Depressing. Okay, that should be enough for now. Okay. Oops. Oopsie doopsie, as they say in the business. Okay, I will be getting to work and narrating at some point, but we need background music, so for the stream, not for the work. Downloads. There we go. Some nice, calm, relaxing audio. Not too overpowering, a nice, relaxing, drifting off into sleep. Good enough. Okay, just double checking everything is good. It's good. That's good. Excuse me for clearing my throat like that. Not entirely intended. Although my throat isn't doing the greatest. Coffee. Coffee. And this can go over here. Strategically hidden behind my microphone so I don't see it. It's always the best way. Joel's Woodmore, happy belated morning to you all too. Yeah, it's technically 12 o'clock in the afternoon for me, so there we go. Getting there. Must admit, I'm getting pretty tired of not summer. Moving from the southern to the northern hemisphere has messed up my, well, yeah, with regards to weather. I've basically had autumn, winter, spring, winter, spring. And not a lot of spring the first time around. We've had like 9-10 months of blech weather. But such is life. Alright, right. Making sure everything is good. That's good. We're using new software, I think. I can't remember the last time we recorded which software I was using. Okay, this is getting a bit much. Take that down a notch. But yes, so we're going to do some work. It is Saturday, but, you know, times are tough. So we work when we got to work. Also, I had 2 days off this week because of reasons. Voice not playing well with the microphone. Let me just how do I okay, that's the wrong thing. Okay. Yep, I'm getting serious. Pulling up my sleeves. Like that's going to change the way I narrate, but, you know, you never know. I also know this is a very weird time to start streaming. Although we've managed to go out, get some shopping done, do the odds and sods that need to be done, and then head back. Hopefully I'll be able to stream for a couple hours. We'll see how it goes. Today we're doing mostly series, so we're doing Accidentally Adopted. We're going to do 3 chapters of that. And then we're going to do a couple chapters of The Human from the Dungeon. Now that's the plan. Which is going to be kind of boring for anybody who's not watching those series, but the work needs to get done. But we can always just chat. This is the nice thing about streams. You can ask me a question, I can answer it. You can ask me a question, and I can not answer it. And entirely up to everyone involved. Okay. I did go to Portugal. I landed in their wettest and coldest winter on record. So, but we're heading into spring now. Still last couple rains, and then the weather will start increasing. So, yeah. And then also, I'm South African, so cold is relative. Anything under 15 is cold to me, but my normal is like 30. Okay, I'm going to start recording. I'm going to keep an eye on chat. Don't worry about interrupting me. I can always just hit the pause button on recording to answer your question. So that is that. Anyways, too much blabbering. Onto some work. Greetings, ladies and gents, and welcome to this latest narration of the web series Accidentally Adopted. If you're new to the series, there is a playlist listed down below in the description. And as always, I hope that you enjoy. Part 5, Chapter 1. Is that looking good? Yep, that's looking good. Good evening. Afternoon, Phoenix. Hope you're doing well. I'm doing as well as can be. Journal entry 37. Date 175. Name Greg George. Okay, so the space bacon has increased. I think Mom is trying to cheer me up. I mean, it's not working. I want to say that not working. I won't say no to delicious space bacon. But what I want is some goddamn whiskey, feck's sakes. These blue boys get fecking drunk on tea, like a bunch of fecking teetopians, or Britbongers. Or some chocolate. I wish I knew more about chemistry. The only fecking reason I even knew the caffeine is in the tea is because I recognized its effect on me. If I knew how to draw molecules of hooch, maybe I could get my family figures. If I knew how to draw... If I knew how to draw the molecules of hooch, maybe I could get... No. If I knew how to draw molecules of hooch, maybe I could get help my family figure... There's a couple words missing. Help with. Help from. If I knew how to draw the molecules of hooch, maybe I could help my family figure this. If I knew how to draw the molecules of hooch, maybe I could help my family figure this crap out. Pretty sure the lack of Xeno's cocoa beans leaves me SOL on the chocolate front. Vic! I want chocolate. In other news, the Hands and Lucy are moving ahead with my merch. It's a 5% cut fare. There's a 5% cut fare. I mean, it's my likeness and crap, but it's not like I'm doing any work. Then again, it would be funny if they caught on, so I'll definitely help promote that crap. As Master of Arms, the state of the armory is my responsibility, and I have to say, it's pretty pathetic. These plasma casters wouldn't penetrate a standard boarding power armor's battle screens, let alone dent its heavy dispersal systems. Let alone dent its heat dispersal systems. Speaking of armor, we have feck all. The vac suits are even fecking soft-sided, leaving alone the fact that if you want... Leaving alone the fact that you want to tank your Atmo... Leaving alone the fact that you want to tank your Atmo during a fight to avoid the possibility of exposure vendor. Tank your Atmo. tank your Atmo during a fight to avoid the possibility of explosive venting. So fighting in vac suits is fecking standard. What if you have to go to spacewalking to repair something and get hit by debris? You're fecked in the soft-sided crap. Automatic naval shotguns aren't really an option, and there isn't really anything available that I would call equivalent. I can get some I can get some Magak Festia. Flechettes, I think that's supposed to be. I can get some Magak Flechettes to add a little kinetic to our arsenal, but they are semi-auto. Dash missing. But they are semi-auto and vulnerable to EMP strikes. Finding anything that's chemical propellant at all is proving to be extremely frustrating. I really don't like having the gaping hole in our defenses. Speaking of holes, the armor. I brought it up with Pops, and he admitted that he's always ignored armor because he's always been uninterested in sailing anywhere remotely dangerous. Well, the White Sea is all about you. You can the White Sea. What is that? Well, the White Sea is all about you. You can fence yourself in, but you cannot fence it out. I felt kind of bad for being critical of his armory, but my job is to make sure that we Sing can defend herself. And now we're planning on going to Space Tortuga. We're going over that. Good afternoon. Hope you're doing well, and thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying. And now we're planning on going to Space Tortuga. We're going over to that Justicar to request some combat vac armor. I want the bridge crew and the shipboard response team capable of acting even in the event of losing Atmo. Time to start drilling the kiddos for lockdowns. Maybe I can disguise it as a game. Speaking of kiddos, I had a decent chat with Sarge. He gets why I was so harsh with him and apologized for not thinking more clearly. Kid has a good heart and will be a good leader one day. One day, but not today, Sarge. Enjoy being a teenager for now, and don't worry about grown-ups just yet. Then I told the crew how I wound up in that animal shelter. Not a pleasant story to tell, but not so harrowing as the grubs. Feck the grubs. Dear Diary, we're getting ready to set sail. With a bit more complicated since all 12 of the stops we plan on making are completely different markets than Mom's used to. She's been sinking her teeth into the social medias of the destinations, though, and is slowly filling our hold with a few local products that'll be in demand there. Well, I have a product that's going to be in demand everywhere. I will soon anyway, and Daddy said that we could use one of the cargo bays for the manufacturing base, and we still had good... I will. And this will be Mondays. So, series are, unless it's a re-TFOS series, or series are only on weekdays. So, this will be this week. This is Wednesday's video. The manufacturing base. And we'll still have enough money in our pool to get some textiles and stuffing material. I hope that we don't waste too much of it getting the settings right. I think that Greg is actually pleased with the idea of a cuddly toy of himself. He's got a soft spot for making kids happy, after all. He told us the last important part about his past. I guess that means that he has lots of little stories he could tell, but this was the answer to the question we politely held back from asking, since he showed up that he's a person. Since he showed that he's a person, such as how he wound up in that kennel, and what happened to him in the fighting pit. I mean, we had the police reports, but that's just some of the cops thought about what they saw and some recordings of the fights taken from the poachers' databanks. But how he tells it, well, we have 20 days. There are some things I want to talk about with him, if he doesn't mind. Log 6,001.1.02. Personal, Captain Yormdrill. Gregory had some criticisms of the armory. I knew he would, but it is still discordant to listen to him talk about combat effectiveness of various weapons. It's a dissonance between how lethal and how cute he is. Apparently, his people believe in redundancies in weapon systems, such that they still use chemical propellant weapons. This means they either have electromagnetic pulse weapons or are extraordinarily paranoid. In any case, he spent most of the day putting together a requisition form. In any case, he spent most of the day putting together a requisition for some more weapons and wants to see about getting some armor from the Justicar. Well, that might be an interesting encounter to watch, so I've reached out to her to see if anybody is willing to meet us over the issue. The Lord Justicar himself wants to have tea. Oh, this is going to be funny. He said that he owed us some more answers and asked Trevty to gather who she thinks can hear the story and settled into a chair to tell the story. Well, this bit is, it is what it is. You've heard me mention Sanctuary before, and all of you have very politely avoided questioning me over it. But I'll explain anyway. Sanctuary is one of the 2 rest and recreation planets. The Army one is called Respite. Sanctuary is one of 2 rest and recreation planets. The Army one is called Respite. Anyway, Sanctuary is set aside. It has a low tank level, very little dangerous fauna, a nice temperate to tropical climate, and low population. Importantly, it has no spaceport or station, and the only way onto the planet is supposed to be to ride a shuttle down from the Navy ship. This is to keep the planet low stress, but activity tends to help us relax and recharge for redeployment. In my case, I was ordered there for mental health treatment. I did not take the breakup of the Lost Boys very well. As I've said before, there were good people in the Navy who wanted to help me do what I wanted, though, like Dr. Johann. Even still, I was not very good at relaxing, so I got ordered back to Sanctuary after a few missions to work on that. It wasn't great that I'd stuck out there. It wasn't great that I get stuck on a planet for weeks at a time, stuck on a planet and not even working. But I didn't want to accept a medical discharge. That's when they declare you medically unfit for duty. Anyways, one of the things that I was working on was incorporating my skills into peaceful activities. Some recreational survival skills. Kind of full circle on that one. But I always like going into the wilderness, exploring, seeing beauty. No, thank you very much, Charles. Yeah, it's been a ride, I'll say that. Both leaving and, new country. Very, very, very different. But we're getting used to it, slowly but surely. My Portuguese, I've learned at least 4 words in the last 3 months, so, we're getting there. Exploring, seeing beauty. So, in order to help me get out of work mode and into more, normal mode, was to go on hikes, to just go camping. The trick was to not be, sneaky about it. I'll never not move quietly, but I did finally start camping in a nice open area without carefully concealing my presence and equipment if I had any. It was a beautiful night, warm, clear, no sign of bad weather. I decided to forego the tent. Oh, that's a portable shelter. I just spread out my bedroll and was gazing at the stars, thinking about whether I'd thinking about whether I'd be sent to protect some brothers soon. I woke up in a pit. It was big enough for me to stride twice along each wall, and the room was out of my reach. I could sort of try to shimmy up a corner, except for the shock collar. The scorching shock collar. It shocked me if I was too fast. It shocked me too slow. It shocked me if I was too fast, if I was too slow, if I made a noise, if I refused to eat, if the googly-eyed void sucker felt like I needed a shock. When it was time for me to beat some poor creature to death, they'd just turn it on full blast until I was convulsing on the floor, shoved me into a cage, and then came the needle. I don't know what they injected me with, But whatever it was, it wiped all thought from my mind and made it feel like there was fire under my skin. I was completely out of control. I think that it must be how the grub victim feels. I was screaming. Once I beat some innocent animal to death, then it was a tranquilizer. Then they strapped me to a machine, I don't know the word, but I think it was a blood filter. Whatever it was, it hurt. My memory is a bit spotty, but eventually it was the people who go clickety-clack. Then you brought me home. So, that's how I got here. Thanks for taking me in. End of chapter. Alrighty, the music stopped. We shall just loop that. Yeah, it's not too bad. If you know the context of what they're talking, or like a word, you can kind of figure it out. But that's when you've got time. When people talk, they talk really fast, and it's very difficult to follow along. To be fair, contrary to what you might think, my language skills suck. I can speak English and a teeny tiny bit of Afrikaans. And I only speak Afrikaans because they tried teaching it to me for 15 years. School. 12 years? 12 years. They tried teaching me Afrikaans for 12 years. And I can barely speak it. So, Portuguese is going to be a challenge. Yeah, that's very true. I mean, we speak English very fast, and people who don't speak English struggle to understand that. I do get it. But Portuguese is also a very fast-paced language in general, I think. Could be wrong. NC 5-2. Updoot. Always updoot, people. Updoot. I know the authors do appreciate it, and I appreciate it. Got to share the love somehow. Lets the authors know that things are happening. Is the audio just not coming through? There we go. Because, I mean, I came from a country with 13 different official languages. I mean, I've dealt with people who can speak many different languages, so I do get it, that the speaking of the words can be quick. Alright, is everything good? Good. Well, as good as can be. Okay. Fair enough, Postmatic. Fair enough. anybody's wondering what that spreadsheet is, that is my recording schedule. That is several hours of recording every day. But don't worry, it means something to me and the wife. You don't need to see the whole thing. But there's the recording schedule. The red bar is today. But anyways, on to the next chapter. Fair enough, Charles. But in South Africa, when I was growing up, Afrikaans was mandatory. So if you failed it, you failed the year. So I knew just enough to not fail the year. Very, 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 very compulsory. I don't think it's that way anymore. But, you know, it's been a while since I was in school. Alrighty, our next story is going to be quite the next chapter. Okay. Look left, look right. Make sure the microphone is microphoning, the background is backgrounding. Ooh. And the chats are chatting. Awesome! Alrighty. Greetings, ladies and gents, and welcome to this latest narration of the web series Accidentally Adopted. If you're new to the series, there is a playlist listed down below in the description, and as always, I hope that you enjoy. Part 5, Chapter 2. Dear Diary, we're getting ready to sell, but for the first time, like ever, we're sailing without full holds. The important thing for me is to figure out how the plushies keep up... Is to figure out the plushies, keep up my studies, and figure out how to help with the mission. I've been working on the modeling for the 2 versions and putting up some concepts on social media, and people are going nuts wanting one. There are going to be knockoffs, and some people have already done little art projects of him. I like the knitted one, and Greg was a little exasperated when I showed him the reactions. He just muttered about being famous when nobody even knows his name. I reminded him it's his fault for being adorable. He said he can't help that. Everyone else has bad taste, and to wait until I meet a good boy, whatever that means. Whatever that is. Someone got a good picture of Lord Justicar putting the medal on, and now that's become the sneaky salute meme. I'm seeing it used a lot, reacting to heartwarming stories, like about an orphaned litter being taken care of by a different animal, or a pet waiting for an owner who passed away, and mostly for kids doing kind things. Then there are the funny uses, mostly by teenagers, on posts of other teenagers hurting themselves doing sports. Of course, there are text edits, but a lot of them make no sense unless you're from the culture of the meme, or maybe not even then. Why is the medal labeled Hoidava? Well. Hoidva. Or maybe not even then. Why is the medal labeled Hoidva? Greg, me when I get good grades, and Lord Justicar, rude matron. Why is that one so popular? Jacuvia is weird. With things getting a bit less hectic, things are going back to routine. Kind of. Mom is still busy lining up buyers at our next stop. Daddy is still going over the course with Uncle Yim, and Greg is still working on what he calls combat readiness. He told me to bring everyone past their halfway to the armory to talk about that. There was Greg cleaning the sidearm Uncle Yim machined for him. It looks like a scaled-down electronic pulse pistol. It looks like a scaled-down electronic pulse pistol with a rack of weapons looming over us behind him when Yeg, Mile, Brev, Wex, and I arrived. First things first, he said as his eyes lifted to pin Yeg. I was harsh with you. I'm not sorry for telling you that you couldn't come and fight, but I am sorry that I wasn't kinder about it. Will you forgive me? Yeg blinked and then said slowly, I don't know the details, but I know that you had to fight for real when you were younger than me. I have been meaning to apologize for how immature I was about the mission, and I wanted to thank you for caring enough to correct me. If you feel you should have been more kind about keeping me safe, I forgive the harsh words. Thank you, Sneaky. Good, that's good, he said, as he moved on to cleaning a different pot. The five of you aren't exactly kids anymore, are you? We shook our heads. But or are you? Are you? We shook our heads. But you're not adults either. We shook our heads again. He seemed to be searching the weapon for something. The most precious thing on the ship is the innocent. The litters are the most innocent. The littles. The littles are the most innocent. The littles depend on us entirely. So you must suffer damage to your innocence to protect them. I remind you that you voted for this. All five of you did. The among the stars we sing sails into danger. Rev rolled her eyes and started talking. Stars, we like total... Stop! The coldness in his voice and eyes sent a chill down my spine, and hers too, from her face. We are talking about keeping the littles alive and safe. Do you understand? She gulped and answered, Yes. I don't like it, but I am an officer, and in this case... I don't like it, but I am an officer, and in this capacity we will be maintaining discipline. Yes, sir. He flinched a little and continued, There is a scenario in which you might have to fight. Therefore, I refuse to leave you defenseless in that scenario. In the case that you were boarded, in the case they were boarded, and the adults are either overwhelmed or pinned down in a different part of the ship, and the boarder's goal is kidnapping, it will fall to you five. Your little brothers and sisters and cousins and friends will be depending on you. Do you think you're ready? No, sir. Yem, Rev, and I said immediately. Mel just looked uncomfortable, and Wex shrugged and said, I don't even know what ready is. Merst, we're going to familiarize... We're going to familiarize you with our most reliable... First, we're going to familiarize you with our most reliable long guns. Not the sidearms. No. Not the sidearms. The idea that it is easier to shoot a smaller weapon is not correct. Lives might depend on your accuracy, and the long barrel is easier to aim and stabilize. You will be learning the forehand grip for maximum control. He scowled at Wex and said, I don't care how stupid you look when you're saving your little sisters from slavery. Nobody felt like complaining after that. He told us that we'd be rotating in for training on real weapons after the grown-ups and dismissed us. He's weighty when he's serious. Journal entry 38, date 176, name Greg George. I woke up in a cold sweat this morning. I was in the pit again, except instead of fighting, the googly-eyed Fex made me watch them... Fex made me watch them inject Lucy and Linus. Thank God I woke up before they... Jesus in a tank, subconscious. Did you have to come up with something like that to be afraid of? I had to hold my plasma caster for an hour to calm down from that crap. That's the kind of nightmare I don't want to process. I just want to fecking forget. Feck me sideways. That crap was terrifying. But this is a sanity journal, so no holding crap back. It's the rule. Anyways, I'm in more memes, and apparently the idea of me being a plush toy has the net fecking on fire, which is good for sales, which I apparently get an even split with our other 4 people in the project and the ship. Kind of threw me for a loop that Lucy wanted to do it that way, but she wouldn't be talked out of it. Some weirdo knitted me, like a little yarn doll of me. Fecking Xenos have no goddamn taste, I fecking swear. If they think I'm cute, wait until they meet a doggo. Not a good translation, but I think good boy is good enough. The best thing would be to show the Xenos a doggo with their pet dog. That crap would be funny. Earthborn Adorable is going to make toy companies so much fecking money. That and the Dart Wars. We're already setting up more structured match at the next station, and since we're going into hyperspace, we'll be off the network except for what's basically email or hypercom. I'll have someone help me set up an email for that Dart Wars later. I don't want to address it to be I don't want the address to be accidentally hilarious. If I do something funny, I want it to be on purpose. I think it's just a bit too early for most of America, I would guess. What was that? Yeah, it would be very, very early morning for them. Anyway, I briefed the big kids on the extra training today. I think I got it through to their heads that it's not a game. Feck, I hate being an officer. Fecking get Sir Ed. Fecking get Sirred. Fecking sucks. Anyway, the meeting with the Lord Justicar got his name, but feck the spelling that crap. I'm just calling him Fancy Pants. The meeting with Fancy Pants went pretty well, despite him being a big fancy lord or whatever. It was pretty cool. Not as cool as Pops, but at least he wasn't stuffy. Turns out being the captain of a Justicar is what makes him the lord, and it's meant to avoid confusion when coordinating several civvy ships in an emergency anti-crime action. I continued to amaze the feck out of everyone being sober from drinking tea, and I blew their fecking minds by telling them it's mild stimulant for me, and I'd brew it stronger if I tasted better. And I'd brew it stronger if it tasted better. Except Pops, he already knows. This led on to what might intoxicate me, and I had a genius fecking idea. I described how we make hooch, from the fermentation of the mash to distillation to cask aging. Apparently, they have hooched unaged crap, but still glorious alcohol. Just in tiny amounts since a quarter of a tablespoon Just in tiny amounts, since a quarter of a tablespoon, at a rough guess, is enough to make them puke, which is what it is for, emergency stomach evacuation. When I told him that our preferred method of consumption is to drink what When I told them that my preferred method of consumption is to drink what I approximate to be 2 ounces with tea over an hour or so, the servant lady fecking fainted. When asked whether I have a high tolerance to the word I'm guessing is alcohol, I told them no. They don't believe me. It's whatever. The bad news is that our armory is stocked with about as good as it gets for weapons. The good news is that armor is available. What the feckers want in exchange is, I'll get you back for this, Fancy Pants. I'll get you back. Log 6,001.1.03. Personal. Captain Yomdril. It is daunting, but we are committed. It's been difficult to chart the course with the lowest likelihood of pirate trap, but it's not like they're consistent about where they rip innocent It's not. But it's not like they're consistent about where they rip innocent ships out of hyperspace. Our weapon systems haven't been used since Yamdril and I bought her, but I've kept them maintained. Hopefully we won't have to cause... Hopefully we won't have calls to use them. Hopefully there'll be enough to drive any pirates away. And Gregory won't have calls to use his skills. Hopefully. Tea with the Lord Justicar was interesting. Thankfully, we were not required to dress formally, so I just selected some nice clothes rather than wearing a work jumpsuit, perhaps appropriate for going to a restaurant. Well, Gregory did similarly. Unfortunately, to his view, his nice clothes are somewhat brightly colored, which only served to make him look more adorable. We were admitted to his private quarters, which were rather lavish, as he had as he had a tea room. My apologies, my wife will not be joining us, he said as the maid poured the tea. She is busy passing judgment on some criminals. My wife also sends her regards, as she is cargo master upon the star tides we sing. She is preoccupied in filling our holds. Our most recent course has been a significant loss. I don't have a wife. I don't have a wife, Gregory said when the Lord Justicar looked to him. Then he amazed the Lord Justicar and Major, for the landers. Looked to him. I don't have a wife, Gregory said, when the Lord Justicar looked to him. Then he amazed the Lord Justicar and Major, or the landers, by nonchalantly sipping enough tea for a normal person to quickly feel its effects. Like I said last time, my name seems hard on you, so just go with either Greg or Sneaky. Shouldn't you sit down? Shouldn't you sit down? The Major asked. You're worried I'll get inebriated? This stuff is a mild stimulant for me. You jest, surely, the Lord Justicar said as he stirred some sweetener into his tea. Drop an ice cube in the scorching stuff and I'll gulp it down right now, he said before blowing across the room to cool it. It is true, he brews it far stronger for himself at home. I'm limiting it by the taste more than anything at this point. Any stronger and it goes from pleasantly bitter to disgustingly bitter. Our hosts looked shocked in the most satisfying way, and the Lord Justicar forgot himself well enough to ask, Do your people get intoxicated by anything in the void? Oh, lots of stuff. We have stimulants that can be dangerous, painkillers that can be abused, mushrooms and chemicals that cause hallucinations. Lots of things, some more or less dangerous to take. Do you ever intoxicate yourself? Well, my drug of choice is, we make it by making a grade mash, introducing microbes that eat the sugars, then distilling the intoxicant by boiling it and putting the steam through a condenser tube. Then it's put into wooden casks to pick up flavor for a few years. You drink alcohol? If alcohol is made that way I described. If alcohol is made the way I described. Mind you, it's not always made the same way back home. There are kinds that are only strained rather than distilled for more flavor and lower concentration of, alcohol. The maid fainted, and there was a bit of commotion for some of her co-workers checked. As some of her co-workers checked to make sure that she did not hit her head. Then, as they helped her stumble out to lie down somewhere a bit more comfortable than the floor, I explained the proper use of alcohol to him. One of the stirring spoons proved a useful visual aid. Sorry for all that, Gregory gestured towards the door and continued, but I still don't have any names. The Lord Justicar looked startled and said, Apologies, how rude of me. I am Xandred. This is my Major of the Landers, Vaxvalve. I am pleased to meet you both properly. Did you want to discuss anything in particular, or did you just want to shoot breaches into something? Or did you just want to shoot breaches into nothing? Into nothing. Void that. Into nothing. Void that. Voxvov chuckled. In the first place, I wanted to get to know you in a less official setting. You're less, stiff than the debriefing. Ooh, looky a bot. Woohoo, but. Okay, right down. And now I need to remember how to ban people. Burn. Must burn. No, that's not how you ban. There we go. Figured it out. Okay. Back to our non-bot overlords. Then the debriefing. You're less, stiff. Greetings. You're less stiff than the briefing. We're having a chat over drinks, even if I can't feel them the way you do. Reach me if I don't know a friendly gesture when I see one. Then again, you're both busy men, so you must just want something out of this. Not as busy as you'd think, Xandred answered. I just captain this tub of justice. Once the target is orderly again, there is not much for me to do. No captains to coordinate, no egos to soothe, no over-eager militias to trim in. All things considered, things went rather well here. Forgive me if I have a somewhat dimmer assessment. Apologies, Yomdrill. I was talking about how you handled the situation after the crime was suffered. I've seen captains make a mess of things rather than restoring order. That was mostly Mom. We went planetside to get my brother back. Speaking of planetside, I hear you had a lander to your people. Speaking of planetside, I hear you're a lander to your people. My job as an advanced scout, an overwatch sniper. Similar to what we do, but my lieutenant insists that you were fired onto the battlefield in an escape pod. Stealth drop pods were single-use only. Excuse me, standard insertion for advanced scouts is via stealth drop pods. Xandred looked pale as he nearly whispered. That implies the existence of non-stealth drop pods. Yes, the assault drop pods deliver shock troops to establish a landing place. They looked so satisfyingly horrified that I couldn't help from adding, he maintains that his nation has never lost a scout before landfall. A shuttle would be far safer. Big, fat, slow target. No. Far safer. Nope. A shuttle would be A shuttle would be far safer. A big, fat, slow target would be safer in peacetime, sure. But my job isn't peaceful. Wasn't peaceful. It is well to think of such things, Voxwolf said after a sip of tea. I'm considering taking on a civilian role soon, but I do not think the attitudes of man of action shall ever leave me. Well, apparently there are civilian ships in dire need of combat readiness drills. I scowled at him, while the others nodded gravely. It is more. If more captains in this region took it seriously, you might have had more than 60 men to complete the work, Voxwolf opined. That's plenty for a lieutenant. Not a full, but I don't know the translation. Anyway, it's close to the commission for a lieutenant. Is that in the case of your military? Well, it might be more or less depending on the formation, especially when it comes to vehicles. I see. The biggest issue was that we were The biggest issue was that we were under-equipped. You did rather well, yes. But for instance, I had to reposition after every shot. I have a magnetic accelerator now, but that plasma caster isn't very subtle when it fires. Also, we had to be particularly careful about cover, since we weren't armored. Additionally, we didn't have a tactical network, just local comms. That's a bigger deal than you'd think. A mission can change in an instant, and if that change is communicated quickly and accurately, it can save lives. I see. Your nerve is well earned, Xandred remarked. I will try not to tarnish it, sir. I was only doing what's right. Speaking of doing what's right, Voxwald mused, I heard another rumor. It said that you're going after Beastmaster Solvus. And what if we are? And what if we are? I asked. That would depend on your purpose. If you're going If you're just after putting the Void Sucker through an airlock for revenge, well, we can't stop you, but you'll not have the protection of the treaties. That googly-eyed void-mating piece of scorched waste knows where my brother's place of safety is. I need to know how he got close, how he got past detection, and how he got away alive, and somehow get that information to the Republic. If it happened to me, it can happen again. It is well that you were a castaway as shipwreck. It is well that you were a castaway as shipwreck, and not a marooned. This treat of yours is a threat. This threat to yours is a threat to ours, as you are a star sailor, Xandrid said solemnly. Good afternoon, Annex. Hope you're doing well. Xandrid said solemnly. In that case, we can offer some support. I've been watching the local weapons market. And it seems that you've taken up the best of what's available. I wanted one of those new flechette launchers for my own use. I was hoping for some chemical propellant weapons. Electromagnetic attacks would leave us vulnerable. I can't help you there, but what about some armor and extra personnel? Glad to hear it, Alex. The Weasing is mostly cargo space. Our core... The Weasing is mostly cargo space. Our quarters deck could take on maybe 2 squads. Getting Linus back was enough to risk our chain of command. But in future actions, I'd rather Pop stay on the bridge. Uncle, too. I tried to hide my cringe. If I'd been more disciplined in drilling the crew with small arms, then perhaps my brother and I would have taken on a command role instead. Voxwolf smiled into his tea and said, It just so happens that this Beastmaster is also a wanted pirate. Good hunting, lads. From the memoir on the Beastmaster Salvas. Having escaped from warm bloods putting their disgustingly hair-covered fingers where they're not needed or wanted, I sought out more information. Oh. Apparently, an underboss did the one egg-breaking thing that you just never do, and kidnapped one of the blue warmbloods. Of all the lesser beings, the blues just lack the understanding of their place in this galaxy. This Jacovian galaxy. What I found out was rotted stupid. Apparently, Omvia Syndicate was dismantled by a beast from beyond the Monvan Gulf. Or, at least, that's what the blues are claiming. They're mocking us. I say we go back to scalping them. A fine cloak of their prized braids, a new one. The one I inherited from my great-great-great brood matron is a fine thing, but too precious for wearing. The scalps of the Weasing would do nicely. Then we put the beast back where it belongs. Enough pain will teach the... Enough pain will teach it that it's an animal or a primitive again. End of chapter. Alrighty. Chapter number next, done. Boomer juice. Oh. So good. Oh, clickety-clack, clickety-clack. Next one's quite short. If this music got any more relaxing, I'd fall asleep. Alrighty. Just quickly knock out the next chapter. Pretty short, like very, very short. But that is fine. We shall do it nonetheless. Okay. Good afternoon, Joseph. I hope you're doing well. Anyways, on to the chapter. Greetings, ladies and gents, and welcome to the latest narration of the web series Accidentally Adopted. If you're new to the series, there is a playlist listed down below in the description, and as always, I hope that you enjoy. Oof, excuse me, that boomer juice is fighting back. Just checking my emergency mute buttons. Anyways, I hope that you enjoy. Part 5, Chapter 3. Journal Entry 42, date 183, name Great George. And away we go. I woke up with a vague notion that I had a dream about the Corps denying me, but it must have been a pretty mild, since I can't remember much. In any case, I'm glad to be underway. I'm still annoyed that I went viral again. I'll swear that the fancy pants... I swear I'll get fancy pants for this. I've come around to the grandkids looking cute in their little dress blues. Then again, there's the fact that they were bigger than me. I don't care if his wife wanted the pictures. I'll have my revenge eventually. Anyways, we have 20 days in Hyper ahead of us, which isn't very much time, but it's going to have to be enough. The SWAT dudes fall in pretty well, but they're insular. I've ordered them to visit the galley in fire teams during their off hours to meet people and not be awkward guests in our house. Privates, gonna private. God damn it, I really am fecking officer. Yes, I'd better get the sergeants together for a little flat... Yes, I better get the sergeants together for a little fraternizing. God damn it! Feck! Speaking of being an officer, I have a teenage boy who thinks he's a fecking hot crap, who needs it drilled into his fecking head that if he's ever in a position to even hold that rifle outside of training, things have gone well and truly to shit. I'm not letting them fecking touch the triggers until they respect those weapons. At least, I still get to have fun with the kids, for the bits of it that are actually fun. I'm adding more stealth and evasion to our games for the littles, which they haven't noticed, and I'm drilling the bigs for accuracy daily. And I'm planning on getting some tactical drills for getting the littles into one cabin with some fallback points as last line of defense. I swear to fecking God, I'm going to find an admiral and punch it brass. I swear to fecking God, I'm going to find an admiral to punch if brass fecking promotes my actual rank too when we get in touch. Log 6,001.1.07. Personal, Captain Yomdril. This focus, this purpose. It's like when we went down to the planet to retrieve Yovdril. It's like when my father took us from the living ship on the rescue tug. The landers are being insular, but it's still the early days. Then again, I heard Gregory muttering about how he's turned into an officer, and it's completely unfair that it's his job to make the enlisted men play nice with their hosts. Thank you very much for the gifted subs, I think. Turned all the notifications off. What do we have? Ooh. Holy crap. Holy crap. 20 gifted subs. Thank you very, very much, Achias Ezreal. It is super duper extra appreciated. 20 subs. That's the first time I've ever had 20 subs. It's awesome. Thank you kindly, good but gentle being. It is very, very much appreciated. to make the enlisted men play nice with their hosts. Greetings. No, but greetings me. I'm nice with their hosts. I'm sorry, distracted. Very distracted. Better to sort that out some other time. Yeah. Nice with their hosts. Well, we should thank them for teaching him so many swears. I've taken to having a second officer be on watch at a time, since we might actually get dragged out of hyperspace amongst the stars. There's very little to speak of, except that Gregory is an exacting taskmaster. More than one of us shall be moving... More than one of us shall be moving stiffly until we get used to this level of activity. As much as I expected him to take his duty seriously, I perhaps underestimated just what that would entail. Dear Diary, and away we go. We thought Greg was a tough coach for our exercise. He was going easy on us. We haven't even shot a gun yet. It's all pick up a gun, assume low ready, assume high ready, take aim, assume low ready, hold the gun at ease, take a knee, go prone, assume high ready. Then he'll single out one of us out. Then he'll single one of us out and ask us if our plasma caster is pointed at. Then he'll single one of us out and ask us what our plasma caster is pointed at. If we're even a little bit off, it's drop to the deck and give me 20. My arms. I think I could toggle the safety in my sleep at this point, and it's only been 2 days. The fact that he hasn't let us shoot them yet. The fact that he hasn't let us shoot them yet actually kind of scares me. Like, I don't know. He's trying to make the thought that their deadly weapons really stick with us. Wax let his finger curl around the trigger once, and that got him 50 push-ups. My finger stays off the trigger until I'm ready to fire. My finger stays off the trigger. My finger stays off the trigger until I'm ready to fire. 2, I'm only ready to fire after I acquire a target. 3, the target will be destroyed when I fire. 4, I am responsible for all the destruction from firing my rifle. Then repeat. Then Wex messed up the words. Greg made him start over. He tried to complain until Greg asked him, are you going to accidentally kill a little because you're too weak to do your push-ups correctly? I wanted to cry. It's strange. When he stops out of the armory. It's strange. When he steps out of the armory, the serious look falls away, and he's almost himself again. I think maybe there's just no room for anything but taking that duty seriously for him. Dear Loggery, the new men aren't very fun. They look like they would be better at Dark Wars than the regular grown-ups. Sneaky told them that they have to make friends. They should make friends without being told, but maybe they are shy. I'll give them some soft friend if he's lonely. I'll give them a soft friend if he's lonely. End of chapter. Like I said, a shorty. Too little. That's a cute one. Okay, now I can faff about with this. have no idea what this music is. Oopsie doopsie. Nope. Alrighty. That would be funny. The elite force of Diaper 3. Next chapter. For some reason this website's quite slow today. Good afternoon, Dr. Westside. I hope you're doing well today. We're loaded, we're loaded. Done. We're doing the human from 16. Okay, we're moving on to the human from the dungeon. We'll do a couple chapters. Not many, just a couple. Okay. Excuse me. Greetings, ladies and gents, and welcome to this latest narration of the web series, The Human from the Dungeon. If you're new to the series, there is a playlist listed down below in the description. And as always, I hope that you enjoy. Chapter 16. Unknown. Adventurer level NA. Unknown-unknown. Tengzingos.iso loading. Error 11310317X. Repairing hardware. Error 7984. Applying NANPAC. OK. Repairing hardware. OK. Reconfiguring hardware. OK. Rebooting. OK. Tengzingos ISO loading. OK. I'm awake. Am I functional? Checking OSPEC. OK. Checking base function. OK. Checking sensor package. OK. Checking hardware. OK. Checking THAMPAC. Ooh. I am definitely going to try not to do that, Christian. But, yeah, work still needs to get done, whether my voice is happy about it or not. But I am managing the vocal strain. I think I'll just do one chapter of this, maybe two. We'll see what my voice is feeling like afterwards. Problem is, my insomnia has been pretty bad this week, which affects the voice. I wish it didn't, but it is what it is. Gotta do what hardware. Gotta do. Checking hardware, okay. Checking THAMPAC, okay. Checking local K-base, okay. I feel horizontal. Subject is laying down. Why can't I see? Subject's eyes are closed. Sleeping? Is there anyone else out there? Checking communications, failure. Checking communications, Failure, see technician. Checking database. Failure, see technician. Oh, trapped in a sleeping subject with no idea why. Scanning my knowledge base hardly answers any questions either. Okay, what do I know? I know I'm an artificial intelligence. My function is to guide a subject in the use of thaumaturgy. My function... My function is to guide a subject in the use of thaumaturgy, and I've got all sorts of information on spells. I'm also supposed to translate all audio for the subject and provide further guidance on diplomatic interactions. Who may be? No clue. What's the subject? It's a human named, Subject Zero. That's a cool name. What's my name? Tenzing. I don't get it. I must be missing context. Will Subject Zero make fun of me for not having a numerical name? Or worse, would it be jealous of my non-numerical name? Cool, a new feeling, panic. Nice. But a solution presents itself so quickly. I don't get to enjoy my newfound emotion. I'll just go by 10. Then we'll both have numerical names. Oh, that's a pun. 10, like binary. It's funny because I'm a machine and binary is machine language. I'll introduce myself as 10 when the subject wakes up. I wonder if you'll get the joke. I also wonder when the subject will wake up. K-Base says humans may sleep for up to 8 hours at a time. That's a long time. At least there's data on vital functions, bone density, and many other things to keep me occupied. Nothing on history or temperament, though. So what is a human anyway? An omnivorous bipedal two-armed mammal with an endoskeleton and complicated cardiovascular and nervous system. The nervous system appears to be where I reside. I detect some pain signals, but the brain is ignoring them. Is it because he's asleep? I need to waken the subject to find out. Can I move limbs? No. Damn. I can increase heart rate a little, though, and decrease it. That might come in handy. Let's see. Salivary glands. Salivary glands. Various hormonal glands. Sudoriferous. Sudoriferous glands. I can make the subject sweat. Well, will it wake up? Oh, these things can also hear. I haven't checked that. Dull, non-rhythmic thuds. Maybe someone is trying to wake the subject up already. Does that mean that the subject is asleep unwillingly? Why? Wait. Where are we? Oh, a fixer casket. Yeah, that makes sense. Explains my sudden awakening and the pain signals. Stupid 10. Get a hold of yourself already. Alrighty. Connect the needle to the skull and, Many of the subject's neurons suddenly begin to light up. The needle detected this and withdrew before I could fully connect. I tried to decipher the various meanings of the neurons manually before I realized that I could just apply a translator protocol to them. This somewhat worked and allowed me to determine two things. The subject is waking up and sitting up. Didn't have to wait all that long after all. "Mick, are you all right?" I heard something ask. "I'm okay," said the subject. "Well, what the hell did you do that for?" a different voice demanded. "What do you mean? We were talking about the text, and next thing I know I'm sitting in this thing. What happened?" I heard that with his ears, and saw his brain move the tongue and the vocal cords while exhaling. Then I discovered that there's an interface for interacting with the subject. I can say hello. "Hello, Subject Zero," I thought to the subject. "Ah, shit," he replied verbally. "The voice just said hi." "Did it say anything else?" Did it say anything else?" another voice asked. "It called me Subject Zero." Confusing. It called me the voice, implying an ignorance of my existence. Is the subject experiencing amnesia? Or perhaps the subject wasn't made aware of my installation. Strange. I don't know the particulars of I don't know the particularities of the installation procedure, but if I understand my location and the anatomy of the human correctly, I had to be quite evasive. It had to be quite invasive. "I am 10, your personal AI guide." And apparently its name is 10. It's an AI, the subject explained. What's an AI? What is taking so... What is he talking to? Oh, eyes. Right. There we go. Large humanoid creatures with green skin and sharp teeth. Orcs. Enemies. Enemies? But why is the subject friendly with them? Is the subject under duress? Heart rate and blood pressure indicate otherwise. Wait. Why are the orcs enemies in the first place? I don't know. Okay, well, I can change that portion of the K-base. You can talk to me directly, you know, I informed the subject. Well, that's good to know. Wrong voice. Well, that's good to know, 10, but if I make a habit of talking to you, it'll just make me look crazy, the subject verbalized. Crazy? Mental illness? Oh, I see. I suppose my communications may seem like an auditory hallucinations. Actually, that's exactly what they are, technically speaking. So, if the subject interacts with me, it would look like schizophrenia. Easy solution. You don't need to verbalize. You don't need to verbalize to speak to me, I explained. I'm in your head. So are all the... I'm in your head. So all you have to do is think. He attempted to reply. I recalibrated some of the translation protocols. My mistake. Try again. Like this? He asked. Exactly. Now it won't look like you have schizophrenia when we communicate, I gleefully replied. Nick, what's going on? An orc with an axe asked with concern in its voice. There's a machine in my head and it's talking to me, Subject Zero explained. Other than that, I know less than you do. I decided to keep quiet while I recalibrated my sensor package. The orcs and the subject continued talking to each other, but the orcs kept calling Subject Zero by the name of Nick. Was the subject named erroneously, or are the orcs mistaken? Maybe the subject is undercover for some reason. I have to clarify that later. As I continued calibrating certain functions, I felt myself spread through the various connections in his body. The artificial magic core and pathways were functioning correctly. Still, some pain in the rejection sites. Still, some pain in the injection sites, but I was able to numb that for him. Simple matter of telling certain nerves to hush. 10, Subject Zero, or maybe Nick asked. How can I help you? I answered. What are you exactly? As I said before, I am an artificial intelligence, right? I meant, why are you in my head? I don't know. Today is my first day of existence, as far as I'm aware. My primary function is to guide subjects through the use of thaumatology. Through the use of thaumaturgy. This implies that you were in need of guidance, I suppose. What is thaumaturgy? A literal translation would be one blah 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 blah. A literal translation would be wonderworking. It's a practical application of arcane arts using ethereal energies, I explained. Magic? I suppose so, yes. Okay. It says that it's supposed to guide me through using magic. Oh, wait, hold on, he verbalized. You said primary function. What are your secondary functions? He thought to me. I have several, I answered with a bit of hesitation. If the subject doesn't know why I'm in his head, he might not like my functions very much. My active secondary functions are translation, cardiopulmonary regulation, neural tissue regeneration, cardiopulmonary regulation. My active secondary functions are translation, cardiopulmonary regulation, neural tissue regeneration. Excuse me. Random cough. Neural tissue regulation, medical diagnostics, companionship, and situational analysis. Wait, what? Neural tissue regulation? You're thinking for me? He asked in a panic. No. I couldn't help but laugh. My neural tissue regulation function allows me to treat and prevent certain mental illnesses and brain damage. It also allows me to interact with you like this. The subject thought about this for a moment. These thoughts were scattered and lit up all sorts of neurons. I can't quite read his mind yet. I'll work on that. The orc seemed to be giving him time to sort everything out, but but according to my facial recognition software, it was obvious that they were concerned and had questions of their own. About your initiative. What about your inactive secondary functions? He finally asked. Well, I'm not sure, I replied truthfully. I know that I should be able to communicate with a central hub and with other users, but that doesn't seem to be working. There's also corrupted files here and there, and I don't have access to the main database, so I don't know anything except what's in my local So I don't know anything except what's in my local knowledge base. Okay, what's in your local knowledge base? I took a second to check. About 376 terabytes of information regarding anatomy, physiology, language, and other information regarding my primary function. That's a lot of information. You sure there's nothing about how we got here to where we are now? You sure there's nothing about how we got to where we are now? I'm sure. Okay, he thought. Are you able to move my body without consent? Ah, good question. I tried to earlier, so I feel like I should be able to. Oh, there it is, a procedure to do exactly that. Yes, but not while you're conscious. I couldn't do it earlier, but that's because I didn't have full access to our hardware. I happily explained, then realized that his most likely reaction to this information. Don't worry, it's a survival function. I feel no urge to move you unless we're likely to die. That's, well, okay, I guess. How did I get on the altar then? He asked. I don't know. I might have been in survival mode. I generally don't remember anything before you got on the altar. Do you mind if I ask you a question? Sure, he answered hesitantly. Is your name Nick or Subject Zero? My name is Nick. Understood. Thank you. I'll change your name on the registration, I said, as I did just that. Nick, not a terrible name. I felt a little flush of embarrassment as I realized that I introduced myself as 10 for no reason. That embarrassment faded as I realized that I actually preferred 10 over Tenzing. Then it returned when I realized that he hadn't said anything about the pun. Maybe he didn't get it. Regardless, I'm sure that my creators had their reasons for naming me Tenzing, but there's no significance for me. 10, on the other hand, is the first pun I ever made. A very fitting pun at that. Like it was predestined. I'll continue to go by 10 then. Nick relayed the information I'd given him to the orcs as the questions began to bother me. Who created me in the first place? I scanned everything I could, trying desperately to find an answer. Unfortunately, I couldn't find a single hint of the name of my creators. That's concerning, and not just for me. Nick seems just as confused as I am of all of this. Back's not happy. That's concerning, and not just for me. Nick seems just as confused as I am at all of this, so I'm certain not having the answer to this question is going to bother him. Hopefully, he doesn't ask. Who made you and put you in my head? Nick asked. Feck! I was just trying to find the answer to that very question, I replied. I have no idea. I'm sorry. I counted the sudden rush of epinephrine that indicated a panic setting in. I may not be able to treat the causes of Nick's anxiety, but I can keep him lucid. No panic attacks on my watch. Ask it about this writing, one of the orcs said. Okay, Nick replied and pointed to the side of the casket. 10, what type of writing is this, and what does it say? I examined the writing on the fixer casket and came to a horrifying conclusion. That's not a fixer casket. It would appear that it has a similar function, but it doesn't match the specs I have on file. To top it off, the writing was foreign to me as well. What the hell was going on here? I'm sorry, Nick, I'm sorry, Nick. I don't know what their writing says. I can only read human languages and gone. That's neither. I tried to mask my concerns. It says it can only read human languages and gone, and it doesn't recognize this language, Nick told the orcs. The two orcs wearing robes looked at each other with wide eyes. Then they looked back at Nick. It took them a bit to formulate what they wanted to say. Gone. Gon is a precursor language to Orcish, Elvish, and Dwarven, said the bald one. There are very few people left who can speak or read Gon, and that's because it was last used regularly about 4,000 years ago. So that machine is either very old or was meant to act as a research aid of some sort, said the other one. There are other possibilities, I informed Nick. Hold on, Nick verbalized. What other possibilities? Well, it's possible that whoever or whatever made me was unaware that God was a dead language. The translator database is a mess, almost like someone was trying to correct mistakes. Gon's the only written language I have, but I have verbalized language packets titled Orcish, Gnomish, Elvish, Drow, Daemon, Draken, Dwarven, and Analish. Any Owlish. Draken and Inyolish. There aren't timestamps, so I can't refute the rope orcs hypothesis. But if I was 4,000 years old, it would be unlikely that I would be able to translate for you. Nick went back to chatting with the orcs, and I saved images of the text in case I needed them later. The room we were in offered very little in the way of clues regarding my origin, but data was always good. I caught a glance at Nick's reflection in the mirrored walls. Interesting. Not aesthetically displeasing, not sure how I'd feel if my host was ugly. Would that negatively impact my mental health? It might increase my workload, depending on how insecure the host was about their features. Okay, so to recap, we found out... Okay, so to recap, we have found out that Nick has a machine in his head, and that the text on the caskets is most likely Drakon, a female orc said, with an air of authority. The objects in this room also seem to be pretty technologically advanced. That sound about right? The other orcs nodded. All right, we have a mission to get to. We'll escort you three to the crossway, she continued. Wait, Nick said. 10, are you able to boost my combat abilities? Very interesting. A very interesting, if not somewhat alarming question. I checked my systems, and the answer had absolutely no ambiguity. It was almost like it was what I was made for. Yes, I am. End of chapter. Alrighty. That was 15-minute chapter. It's not too bad. Story is progressing at progressing speeds. But I do think that's going to be me for the day. I'm not going to be narrating anything else. But it does mean we can't chat. Oh, stretch. Oh, crap. Okay. The hardest part of me learning to narrate was learning to sit the fuck still. Very difficult. And coffee. Boomer juice with a follow-up of a nice cup of coffee. Seems I bit my lip at some point. That's not good. Alrighty. It was good, Joseph, good. I released an April Fool's video for the first time. Some people liked it, some people didn't. Some people caught the joke, some people didn't. I suppose that's the nature of the beast. You guys get caught by any big April Fool's videos? Got a bit of a headache brewing. Pal World Dating Sim. That sounds interesting, I suppose, maybe? I didn't even know that game was still going, to be quite honest. I know they were getting sued. Something awful. But I don't even know what's going on. I played it when it first came out. Max leveled and then forgot about it. Shouldn't be chewing into the microphone. Not the best. That's kind of funny. That the AI just wanted to go. Alright, no more chewing. It's just some taste. I think the fine art of the April Fool's joke has lost its luster. Well, I wouldn't say luster. Since social media has become a thing, I think. I mean, in the 90s and early 2000s, companies used to go batshit over April Fool's jokes. Now everything has to be 100% safe. Alrighty. I think I'm going to start streaming daily again, or weekly. I'm going to try to stream more often. Things have settled, got the camera working. So yeah, I'll probably be back tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll probably be doing more The Human from the Dungeon and maybe even some TFOS. Tales from Outer Space. I'm not sure what time to do it. There's always a problem of time. Too early, and I'm not getting the American audience, and too late, and I'm still not getting the American audience. So, at least I'm an hour, 2 hours closer, so the time difference isn't as bad. It's still not great. Because the American side is the biggest portion. But anyways, I will see you all tomorrow. Keep an eye out We can have a chat, a chit-chat. Weekends also normally quiet. Anyway, goodbye. Have a good one. Bye.